Hello, I'm Diane Morgan. If you know who I am, you know who I am. If you don't, who cares? I'm here to explain Italian time, a holiday phenomenon where Italians throw away their clocks and gather for eternity with San Pellegrino. I've been at this party so long that I've eaten 5 courses, hugged someone's grandma twice, and been offered a job in the family restaurant. So this holiday season, make sure to bring enough San Pellegrino to last you through the meal, the after meal, and the entire goodbye ritual. San Pellegrino, holiday on Italian time.
Every who down in Who Newville liked the holidays a ton. But where to get great prices on gifts, they had no idea. None. They searched and they searched for great gifts under $25. Gifts for spouses and friends and even their toddlers. When suddenly one who shouted, Walmart has what you want, knowing they have Lego, Tree Hut, and no prices to flaunt. So they enjoy the holiday season as who's often do. Cheering and shouting, Walmart has incredible gifts. Who knew? Find gifts they'll love under $25 at Walmart.
Welcome to the Dr. Raj podcast with Dr. Raj Dasgupta, a show all about educating patients, students, and aspiring doctors about better patient care. Dr. Raj is a quadruple board-certified physician and associate professor at the University of Southern California. He was a co-host of the TNT series Chasing the Cure with Ann Curry, as well as a regular on the TV show The Doctors. And now, here's our show.
Hi, and welcome to the Dr. Raj podcast. And what is this a podcast of? It's a podcast of happiness and wellness and positive stories that are motivating and uplifting. And it's really about educating the general public about, good health. But I'll tell you what, the best part about having your own podcast is you can invite your own friends. And today we have a very special guest who happens to be a very good friend of mine and my wife, Michelle. We have Southern California's favorite meteorologist from ABC 7 News, Dallas Rains. But before we talk to Dallas, there is a routine here at the Dr. Raj podcast. We got to read that bio first, okay? So here we go. So Chief Meteorologist Dallas Rains has been forecasting the Southland's weather for ABC 7 since July of 1984. Dallas has received the seal of approval from the American Meteorological Society and has been awarded the elite Certified Broadcast Meteorologist Seal from the American Meteorological Society. The Personable Earth Scientist has earned numerous awards for outstanding coverage of weather events, including Best Weather Presenter, World Competition, which was in Paris and France, winner of the Golden Mike Award for Best Weathercast in Southern California, winner of Best Weathercast by Associated Press, winner Overall Excellence LA Press Club, most popular on-air newscaster, and that's KIIS Radio, Outstanding Coverage Award for Hurricane Frederic by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Dallas has an undergraduate degree in communications and earth science, and he continues to take some graduate level courses in climatology. Dallas loves storm chasing, has tracked many powerful storms and tornadoes across the Midwest in Tornado Alley. Dallas is a committed philanthropist. He concentrates on the welfare and care and interests of children. He has authored a series of children's books to introduce weather and geographic concepts to young readers. Chester and the Hot Air Balloon, which was written by Dallas and Danny Rains. Reading to children is one of Dallas's greatest joy. Dallas is an avid athlete, enjoys hiking, tennis, golf, weightlifting. Dallas had the privilege of being a walk-on quarterback at Florida State University. Dallas also enjoys automobile road racing. He has a Sports Car Club of America regional license, which allows him to compete at the Willow Spring track. And the fun fact before we end this is that Dallas Rains, you know what? It's actually his real name. So he was born to do the weather. And with that being said, Dallas, how are you doing?
Oh my goodness, Raj, I love all those wonderful accolades. And I was thinking, now if I could just get the forecast right. That's oh my gosh, it's so great to be here with you, my friend. Good grief. And this is the kind of podcast that I want to be on. One that's uplifting, positive. We're having a great time. If we can make someone's life a little bit brighter, including our own, that's great, isn't it?
And I meant everything I said. I think that I want people who are just nice. And we know, for people who do get to know you, when I bump into you in the gym or just walking around, locking out, you're as nice in person. And you just want to run up to you and give you a big hug. You know what I mean?
I feel the same thing about you too, Raj. I mean, it's look, we're blessed to do what we do, which is amazing. And, you're talking about my early life as I became interested in the weather, Raj, when I was a little boy.
Oh.
And back in Georgia, where they have real weather, like tornadoes and hurricanes. I don't know how I ended up in this wonderful Mediterranean climate, but only God knows the answer to that. But, I was interested in the weather from when I was about the 6th grade. I had this awesome event that happened, Raj. I was in school in a classroom. So kind of imagine we had this big window looking out west of town. And the principal came on and said, there's a tornado warning for your area. Let's all get into the basement immediately. And so I thought it'd be a good idea, Raj, if I crawled in the back of the room in this closet. And I stayed in there until everyone had left downstairs. And then I went to the window and looking out to the west, this boiling cauldron of clouds rotating around. It was actually what we call a funnel cloud. It's not a tornado yet until it touches the ground.
Okay.
But it's a funnel cloud.
Okay.
And the breeze are blowing, and I'm looking at it. I'm going, oh my gosh, this is so incredible. And then all of a sudden, I'm lifted up. But it's Coach McElby, the football coach. He's going, you are one crazy.
You got me there. You got me. Well, I can see why you got into writing. I mean, the way you described that one scene, I'm like, wow, you're very visual. I'm like closing my eyes on this side of the podcast.
And that's what makes the weather and climate, it's just so dynamic to me. And my mom and dad, of course, I was in the 6th grade, so I couldn't drive, Raj. And so the funnel cloud actually touched down in a pecan orchard. I don't know if you've ever seen a pecan tree.
Oh, no, I have not actually.
They're grown. I know you've eaten them.
Of course.
They're huge trees. They're maybe 2 or 3 feet in diameter, and there's a whole, orchard of them. And this tornado touched down in there and just ripped these trees right out of the ground. And I just stood there looking at them, and I said, wow, Mother Nature can do this. And it stuck with me. And the next thing I know, I was reading in my World Book encyclopedias, reading about weather and climate. So it all kind of started that way.
Wow.
But you know how blessed that is that we get to do things that we love to do.
That's true.
They still pay us, which is awesome.
That is pretty awesome. So with that being said, I know you went to Florida State University. So I guess, studying about you before our interview, be honest, what did you want to do at Florida State? Did you want to be a quarterback and be on the football team, or did you want to pursue weather?
I went to Florida State to study meteorology first, because at the time, back in the 70s, Florida State was the only meteorology school in the southeastern U.S. And they're pretty rare. Even in California today, only a few schools have meteorology departments.
So if you want to do meteorology, what would be the core classes that someone would need to take to be a meteorologist?
Well, talking about a shock, that was my shock, because I love the weather and the clouds going by. And my first class I went into, Raj, you'll love this. It's probably like when you went into organic or inorganic chemistry. I go in and Dr. Gleason has, and this was back in the day when we had chalkboards, right? So we had no computers. And he had written all these thermodynamic equations on the board, the Coriolis parameters and all this stuff on the board. And he said, if you think that meteorology is looking at the clouds, you need to drop ad, right? We were all petrified. And meteorology is basically the study of atmospheric physics.
Okay.
And so I was surrounded. I was not that smart, Raj. I'm going to tell you right off the bat. I was just an average student. But I was surrounded by brilliant people. So I just made friends with brilliant people.
The osmosis theory, you know what I mean? Let them hang out with you.
Oh gosh, yeah. So for meteorology and climatology and any of those atmospheric sciences, there's a lot of math and physics involved in the foundation before you can take certain classes. But that's the way it was.
So let's fast forward after college. You know what I mean? I know you started your career in New Orleans, and
Yes.
I guess the question is, I've been there before. They have a wonderful jazz fest, So do you
Yes,
ever get a chance to go back there, eat some crawfish?
I haven't been back in a while. But because the last time I visited, I went back and visited my mom in Georgia.
Okay.
Because that's where I grew up, in Georgia and Florida. But New Orleans is one of my favorite cities.
Has to be.
Isn't it great? I mean, the food is magnificent, and it's old French culture there. And you've got you got a mixture of Southern Cajun. I mean, it's really a neat city. And I would recommend anyone who hasn't visited New Orleans go down and try it out and see it, because there's nothing more fun than going down into New Orleans at the
French Quarter.
French Quarter.
Yeah.
Having some good French food and Cajun food and listening to jazz music. It's just the best. It's really good. As a matter of fact, I'm surprised, and it may already exist, I just don't know it, of someone who has some entrepreneur who has put together like a little piece of New Orleans in Southern California. We should research that, my friend.
No, definitely. I read that you spent some time with CNN, and CNN has been super nice to me, and what motivated you to move from doing your stuff at CNN to come here to Los Angeles? I'm happier in Los Angeles. You belong here, but what motivated you?
Yeah, you're right, Raj. And when I was there, also it was great because that's where all my family is, in Georgia, in and around Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
And so CNN was in Atlanta. Ted Turner, actually, Ted Turner.
Yeah.
When I went to work, I was actually working for Ted Turner, which was really cool. I would come into the weather office, Raj. You would love this. I'd walk in at 12:30, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and Ted Turner would be sitting in the weather center.
No kidding.
He was a great sailor. He won the America's Cup. I mean, yes, he did.
Oh,
and so I would come in, and Ted would be sitting there in the office and going, well, I need to find out what the weather is going to be off Nantucket this weekend, because I'm going to be sailing up there. And he was such a great character. So it seemed like the perfect fit for me.
Yeah.
In Atlanta, I was doing national weather, world weather. But then I had this great offer to go to do Good Morning America in New York. And so it didn't work out because I had a contract with Ted Turner. And Ted says, well, you have a contract with me, and stay with me. Because if you stay with me, we're going to be bigger than all the networks. We're going to be bigger than ABC, CBS, NBC. We're going to be the biggest, And so I stayed with Ted. But then when my contract came up for renewal, they said, well, we're going to put you at an O&O, which means an owned and operated station. And AABC is an owned and operated station by ABC. So it's a network-owned station. But at any rate, so I had this great offer, and I told my wife, I said, I've only seen pictures. I'd never been to Southern California. And I'd never been in a Mediterranean climate that I had studied. And I said, I've got to go. I got to go try it out. So I went and came and just never left. But it's been a wonderful career here. The challenge has been trying to figure out how to make morning clouds and afternoon sun really exciting.
And let me just say this, you've been doing this here since 1984, and you really are, in my opinion, one of the icons when it comes to weather, and it is a treat to talk to. I know you're my friend, and sometimes I forget that when I was growing up, you were the one who let me know if I could play soccer outdoor or not.
Yes, of course. I did something good to help you out.
You're awesome. So who do you look up to in the field of meteorology? Like, do you have someone's poster on your wall that you're like, hey, this is my guy or girl, whatever it is?
Other kids have maybe football players or famous musicians. I have Benjamin Franklin.
Oh, you're kidding me. Was he holding the kite? Was he?
Yeah. Benjamin was the first meteorologist in America.
Nice.
And he's our guy, and he was the one who was studying nor'easters back in the 13 original colonies. And that's my guy, is Benjamin Franklin.
That's funny. And let me on a side note, now that you brought it up. So my wife Michelle, the rheumatologist, she has a joke about gout. So she always says that gout is kind of painful if anyone listening ever's got gout. She said that gout is similar to Benjamin Franklin when he was getting struck by lightning. He says, "Don't worry, everyone. It's not as bad as my gout."
Yeah, exactly. That's a great quote, and I hear it's true.
So anyways, it just
And
reminded me.
Michelle, of course, has taken care of me with, I have some arthritis. And initially when I first had the blessing of meeting your lovely bride,
Mhm.
I knew I had gout. My toes were swollen.
Oh,
This is going to be it. My life is over. But now I'm in great shape.
nice.
Thanks to Michelle.
No. Well, she's going to hear it. She's going to hear it on the podcast. Well, let me do this. Now that we got to know you a little bit better, I want to make sure that we ask some weather questions because I love asking the pro. So, kind of broad. I don't know how you're going to field this one. So, how do you predict the weather?
Well, you know what it is now, Raj. It used to be back in the day, I had all these weather maps on the wall in my office, and I was drawing on them, doing what we call synoptic analysis.
Oh,
I'm drawing little colors and things like that. But nowadays, it's all computer.
okay.
So I go in, I have my computer, and I call up all of these. First of all, I start with looking at what the weather is actually doing right now.
Okay.
There's nothing worse than a meteorologist sitting in a closed office and, he or she doesn't know that it's raining outside.
That's hilarious.
Because they didn't look out the window.
Okay.
But so I look and see what's currently going on. And then I start looking at these numerical models. And we have a bunch of them. We have some that are from Europe, the European models. We have American models. The Navy has its own models. And these are all numerical models which try to simulate the atmosphere down the road, 24, 36, 48 hours and beyond.
Okay.
And so then I look at all those and say, okay, what is actually going on in the atmosphere down the road? And that's the beginning. That's kind of the foundation. And then as a meteorologist, once I see what all these different waves are doing in the atmosphere, then I try to use my experience to say, okay, well, I've seen this situation before or something similar. And then I try to come up with the forecast for the temperature, the cloud cover, whether or not it's going to rain, whether it's going to rain heavy or whatever. So those are kind of how you do it. And it takes me about an hour and a half to 2 hours to really do that right. Mm-hmm. And I like to do my own forecasting and analysis. Of course, the National Weather Service. I have plenty of friends and colleagues out there, but I don't really try to consult them until I've done my own.
No, that's good.
And then after I do my own, then I'll look and see what they're up to, what they say. And sometimes I know most of the guys out there and gals out there, and I will call them if I see something, that I think, I don't agree with you here, or whatever.
Now, I'm going to throw an audible question in here. So I always wonder, when I'm watching you or some of the other news weather dudes and dudettes, they're predicting 2 weeks out sometimes. I'm like, wait a minute. Now, would you say that with all your instrumentation, are you pretty solid for the first 5-7 days? Does it get a little guessing oriented once you're wait a minute, the 2-week forecast? You know what I mean?
It's a big educated guess, right? Yeah. No, look, you get beyond about 5-6 days. Mm-hmm. It is science, but we don't know.
Okay.
And generally the way I do it is the last one I did, which was a 2-week deal, was for this rain that we just had.
Yeah, of course.
2 weeks ago, back in mid-November, I detected a change in what we call the long wave pattern. These are these big atmospheric waves that move around the hemisphere. And I will go out on the limb sometimes and say, hey, it's going to be a change. The 1st of December, we're going to see rain and snow. And sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. This time it actually did. Good. And Mark Brown, and I love Mark Brown. God bless him. He always gives me credit for it.
He's cool. I love him too.
But to feel really good about your forecast, my forecast anyway, beyond about 5-6, day 7 is a stretch. But I think people really get weather. Everybody out there gets it. They drive down the street and it's pouring, raining, and they go another 2 blocks and the sun is shining. So in their world, they say, my gosh, how can you forecast for a huge area when it's doing this just in my little world?
No kidding.
And so I think people are really sympathetic and give weather forecasters and meteorologists give us a nice berth on that 7-day,
Yeah. So I'm going to play off of this. So, let's talk about some weather instruments. And I know you mentioned computers, but I had this feeling like, how doctors in the olden days had like a doctor bag and there was whatever.
Yes.
Tell me you have some kind of, is there instruments? Do you have like these crazy Doc Brown Back to the Future toys you play with?
Yes, they're out there. They're at my house. And my wife can't stand it because they're all over the place. They're kind of tacky looking. These big round gauges and little instruments that are like little anemometers that are whirling around all in the backyard. It's so true. It's like Back to the Future. Especially
that's what I imagine. I imagine you go to the backyard with holding up something and
no, I do that. I have a sling psychrometer.
What?
It's a cool little instrument. There are like two thermometers on it.
Okay.
And you wet one of the bulbs on it and you spin it around in the air. And you should see me when I get up in the morning and I haven't brushed my hair. I go outside and hair is everywhere. And I'm spinning this thing around and my wife just goes, there he goes, man. That is a weather nerd from way back. But I have the whole thing. I have a psychrometer, I have a barometer, aneroid barometer, I have thermometers, of course, and I have wind vanes everywhere. I love wind vanes. And the last big center of wind blew one of my wind vanes, ripped it off and blew it all the way down to El Segundo.
That's some powerful winds, man.
Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just speaking into the void? But with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers, a network of 130 million of them, in fact. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills, and did I say job title? See how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Oh, Hilton stay, your beds are soft and cozy. No lumpy couch, no stiff futon, no shower line at crack of dawn. Oh, Hilton stay, a holiday you're saving.
When you want holiday comfort you can count on, it matters where you stay. This season, enjoy spacious, comfortable rooms and friendly service when you book with Hilton instead. Hilton for the stay.
Now everything is very app. You know me, I'm looking at my phone while I'm talking to you. There's a weather app on my phone right now.
I know. I have the only one I have the ABC7 app, of course. I have the one I really love is what I call Radar Scope.
Radar Scope sounds kind of cool.
Radar Scope is really cool. Radar allows me to go into any of the National Weather Service NEXRAD radars anywhere in the country. And I can touch on it. Like if I want to look at the weather in Lubbock, Texas, I can see the radar facility out there. And I love that thing, man. I get into that and I'm looking at that thing, Raj, all the time. Yeah, weather apps are cool. And I like it because more and more people are becoming weather nerds like me. It's true. They get these little apps on their phone and the next thing they're looking at satellite images and they're going like, wow, this is kind of fun to follow the weather. And that's what I've always wanted to do in my broadcast is to go a little deeper in maybe a little bit of the science of the weather, like the polar jet streams, the subtropical jet streams, El Nino, La Nina. And I feel like if I get the audience interested in that and they see how exciting and thrilling it is, that they want to view more. They're more interested in the weather broadcast.
And I just want to compliment you on what you just said about, going on TV news. There's only a finite amount of time you have. And to try to captivate people, you've done such a good job because we get you. And, there's a time zone. And I think you do an awesome job in getting people pumped up.
I do. I get so excited about it. And you're right. I get I'm supposed to only get about 2:30 to 2:45, but my poor producers are always going, you got to give him an extra 15 seconds because if you don't, he's going to take it anyway.
I love you.
But I just love all my producers because they know, that once I get in it, sometimes I get lost.
What do you think the most important thing a meteorologist such as yourself can do to help the public? What are the things?
Yeah, that's absolutely everything, Raj. Because when I worked back at CNN and in New Orleans, we were in New Orleans, for instance, we were in hurricane season 6 months out of the year.
Yes.
And they had flash flooding, lightning storms, a lot of severe weather. And so that was the number one thing that I had to do as a meteorologist. Now, when I came here to Southern California, I had to adapt a little bit there because we don't have as many severe weather events. But if you look at over the course of time, when we do have a severe weather event, whether it's a flash flood where it can be very dangerous, or we have snow. And here's another thing too, Raj, that I discovered pretty quickly is that in Southern California, what I call killer drizzle, when killer drizzle hits on a Monday morning, we have like 150 car accidents. It's almost like me forecasting tornadoes in New Orleans or hurricanes. I mean, if it's going to rain, not even heavy rain, it kind of creates a disturbance across all of Southern California. But then again,
interesting. I like that. The killer drizzle.
Killer drizzle. And you got to get that right too, because that makes a huge difference for all our commuters. But another thing has become in our world is fire weather.
Okay.
So now we know that the fires in Southern California, once they get started, if they're driven by the weather, it's critical that we get that information out there to our viewers. It's really important. So it's almost like our tornadoes and hurricanes has become fire weather and that kind of situation. So that's the best feeling is, warning our viewers and giving them a heads up.
No, and and especially when you come in the morning or after work, whatever your shift is, you want people to be happy when they see you on TV.
No doubt.
It makes a difference in your mood. If you're not pumped and you're depressed about the weather, then I'm going to be depressed going out the door.
No, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. If there's a fire, of course, it's a more serious delivery.
Of course, yeah.
And we all know that. But once, if it's not a fire situation, to me, it's all about the world of weather that we live in and how exciting it is and how it's going to affect your weekend. Another thing too, Raj, you got to realize is that we have 13 or 14 microclimates right here in Southern California. We have beaches, we have alpine climates, we have desert climates, and all of these climates, when you're watching from home, that is your climate.
Yes, exactly.
If you're living in, Palmdale, Lancaster, your climate is not the same climate as Santa Monica.
Of course not.
So you've got to cover all those climates for all of our viewers and make sure they know what they're going to get for that day. It's a challenge.
It is. So, I'm sure everyone has seen you already, but just in case, you got some moves on TV, and I didn't realize there were names for your moves.
Yeah.
So I got to say the names first. So
I love it.
When did you come up with the Dallas dip?
The Dallas dip was given to me. I just do it, Raj, and all these clever people out there in the world see it, and then they give me the name. But the Dallas dip is because when you're looking at a map of the West, you've got Seattle up here at the top.
Of course.
And you've got, Southern California. And I got to get down because I like to draw. I electronically draw the winds and the high pressure areas. And so in order to get down wherever I'm going to, I got to get down there. So that became like the Dallas dip. I love it. I practiced that.
You did. Now, what about the swirl and the fist pump?
The fist pump is just, for me, is the excitement of weather, the excitement of life. We're all here together to help each other. And it's like, check this out. It's going to be 95 degrees tomorrow, or check this out. It's going to be raining cats and dogs. And here it is. Get ready for it. Let's all get ready. So that's more of kind of an enthusiasm of the excitement of weather.
There's a golf swing in there too.
I put the golf swing in there because I love golf. It's like I'm terrible at it. I didn't start young. I was throwing footballs,
of course,
in baseballs instead of playing golf. I wish I'd have played golf. If I had to go over it again, I always tell. And I have when I'm going to have a grandson, I have a little granddaughter right now.
Oh,
but when I have a grandson or granddaughter, I'm going to say, you guys play golf. Yeah, it's a lot better. It's a lot better on your rotator cuff, and you don't get all these broken bones.
That's true. That's true.
But I love football. I love football.
This might be a hard question for you because you won't be able to narrow it down. So, what is going to be your favorite and least favorite part about being a meteorologist, weatherman?
I have so many. I could go over the fun things about it forever. We've already taught a couple of those, but I think the most difficult thing is I don't like to miss the forecast, Raj. That's bad.
Now, give me some percentages. How awesome are you at nailing it? And what's your percentage? You know what I mean?
24-hour forecast, pretty good. Nice. I hope this doesn't sound like boasting, but man, it's up in the upper 90% on 24 hours. Yeah. and then as we talked about, as it gets down to round 5, day 5, 6, and 7, it starts falling off. Somewhere around 50%. And I can speak for other, my colleagues at the National Weather Service. Forecasting the weather is pretty darn good. And people, our viewers and just everyone kind of get spoiled by it. They really do. They kind of get spoiled by the fact that, hey, you've been doing this for a while. You should be able to get it right every time. But it's as you know, it's really hard. Forecasting weather is not easy. And
what is your favorite type of weather being the weatherman?
My favorite type, Raj, is going away. Tornado. I love tornadoes, and every year I go out with a good friend of mine, Bill Reed, who's with Tempest Tours. We go out into the plains. We get out there in Kansas, and we get in Oklahoma, and we actually chase tornadoes.
What?
Isn't that crazy?
No, it is crazy as well.
No one in their right mind would do this. Matter of fact, I'll tell you a quick little story. One time I'd landed in Denver and I needed to get out into near Goodland, Kansas for a possible tornado the next day.
Okay.
So I'm flying along from the airport. I'm in a rental car and I'm flying along trying to get to Goodland, Kansas. It's like 1 a.m. And I don't know if you've been in Kansas, but the roads are really straight. And at midnight, there's not a lot of people out there. And so I'm flying along like going 90 miles an hour. And all of a sudden I see lights coming from behind me. It's a Kansas Highway Patrol officer.
Okay.
And he pulls me over and I have all the equipment in there, camera equipment and stuff. And he says, "Are you one of those tornado chasers?" I said, "Yes, officer, I am." And he said, "Well, here in Kansas, we go the other direction from tornadoes. We don't go to them." So he says, "I think you may be a little mentally deficient here, so I'm not going to give you a ticket." But yes, I love to go to tornadoes. It's my favorite kind of weather. Of course, you never want to see a tornado hit or destroy anything or hurt anyone. No. But just being out there around them, and in many cases, in most of the tornado chasing I've done over the years, most of the twisters have been out in open fields where really no one has been hurt or damaged, because you have a lot of area out there, right, in the plain states where it's unpopulated.
Well, it's funny. The question I was going to ask you after this was going to be about a movie that I grew up with called Twister. I'm sure you've seen it.
That was like awesome.
I thought you described a scene of the movie. So you really have chased storms. And by the way, do you like the movie?
Yeah, I love the movie. And I think every tornado chaser does. And people ask, well, what's realistic? What's not realistic? Yeah. Well, the unrealistic part is that the guys are chasing tornadoes every hour. It's like you see one, they're here, they're there. And the reality is I took my wife one time tornado chasing, and Danny gets out there, and we had been out there on day 4. And we'd been eating hamburgers and French fries and stopping at 7-Elevens. And she said, "We haven't even seen a funnel cloud." and so that's the reality of tornado chasing. You can sometimes go. I think I went, Raj, maybe 2 or 3 years before I actually saw a tornado. And I went every year they're harder to catch than you might think.
Now you're making me laugh, because you're right. I'm thinking about the movie. They were dropping tornadoes every 30, 40
minutes. It's just everywhere. Cows flying through the air.
Awesome. Now, of all the different scary twisters, is there one that just stuck out to you there? You know what? I'm a little too close. I may pass away after this one.
Yeah, it really was. It was one that Bill got me right under one. This was in southeastern Colorado. And we'd been chasing this supercell for a while. It was kind of a slow developing supercell. We'd been on it with radar, chasing it and for about an hour and a half, and it never produced. And all of a sudden, we were right under it. So because we felt comfortable with the cell, so we said, okay, we're just going to see the circulation of a supercell of this storm. And then all of a sudden, Raj, it was right on top of us. It came down from the wall cloud, and I mean, it almost hammered me right there. I was pretty afraid, I'll have to admit, because we jumped in the car and we got hit by the rear flank downdraft.
Oh my God.
RFD, and that thing was 100-knot wind, and the car was going sideways on the road. And I said, "Man, this is too close. I didn't want to be this close." It's a lot of fun, but generally, I stay a safe distance.
Of course.
Yeah.
Now, it's amazing how time just flew. I want to make sure I ask, 2 more questions in there, and this one's going to be not about like tornadoes, how awesome you are predicting the weather, but
yes.
I actually love the fact that you and your wife actually wrote a children's book, because I have 3 children, and it's called Chester and the Hot Air Balloon. It came out in September of 2021.
Yes.
So I never knew you to be a children's book writer. Can you tell me about this whole adventure?
Well, the truth is, Raj, I am not. But my wife is a great writer. She went to UCLA, and she's a very good writer. And so we decided to do a series. We're working on the series. We're publishing it our own self. So it's by ourselves. So it's a little more difficult. But we did the first book, and it's basically about Chester exploring the atmosphere in a hot air balloon. It's a great little adventure that Danny has written. Our next one is a tornado chase. Chester goes tornado chasing. So basically, he just does all this nerdy stuff that I do. We turn our little Bichon into a little nerdy dog. And he's happy with it, believe it or not. But it's a lot of fun, and we wanted to do it so that we could get kids interested, young people interested in weather science, climatology, with climate change and global warming being such a big issue.
It is.
It's such a big topic. We wanted to kind of try to educate, get kids interested in all of the earth sciences. That's one of my best compliments that I get, is when a parent tells me that, hey, my son, my daughter used to watch you when they were young, and they ended up being a doctor or a biologist or a seismologist or a volcanologist or a meteorologist. It just feels so good to know that my little work there at ABC spurred someone on at a young age to go on and study earth sciences or sciences. And that's kind of what we wanted to do with the book, put it out there so people could read. And I love holding a book, and reading to your children or your grandchildren. And there's nothing like it.
So can I find you somewhere, doing a kind of like a promo reading of your book to some kids? Have you done that?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. We just did one just recently at our little bookstore here in La Cañada. Kids love it. Kids really get it. And Danny and I, we actually do a little acting bit. We bring Chester with us, and
you do.
It's really fun. We enjoyed it. We've done schools. Like I said, if it gets kids interested in science and weather, that's great. And that's the blessing that I feel God has given me, is the ability to communicate something that's, that everybody cares and loves something about the weather, but it's a complicated science. If you can bring it to the point where people are excited about it, enjoy watching it, and bring a little positivity to the TV, that's what I love to do. That's the great blessing for me. And you do the same thing in your work. You're just positive and exciting about medicine and how to keep well and things we can do to get keep ourselves healthy.
Well, thank you. Well, here's gonna be my last question before I let you go. You're doing the book. Yes. You are an icon doing the weather on ABC7. There's so many things that you could go into. What are your future goals? What are you kind of leaning towards now with your passions?
I'd like to get a little bit faster at the racetrack.
So do you have a car, Dallas? Do you have
I do. I've been a car, mainly racing. I love road racing. So
Okay.
I have a Porsche Cayman that I race, and I have some fun street cars, but I don't drive that hard on the street. It's, once you get on the track, I felt like, wow, this is where I can really use my skills, use my talents that I've been taught and developed. And so on the street, I generally don't go very hard on the street. It's dangerous, but. And plus, I have a lot of my friends are CHPs, and they watch it. They always say, "We're watching you, D."
That's funny.
But that's something I love. I enjoy that. It's one of my great fun hobbies that I do. And, I still enjoy working in football. I still enjoy working with receivers and throwing the ball. And just on Thanksgiving, I went out with my son, and I ran him to death, got him out on the football field, and made him run 9 routes for like nonstop. A 9 is just like a go. And I got him running like 40, 50 yards down the field, hard as he can go, throwing balls and stuff. So I love that, and I love kids, and that's something I love. But right now, Raj, I just want to continue to do what I'm doing, the blessing I've been given, and hopefully that I can spread that blessing to our viewers and others.
Aw, well, let me just say that, once again, it's such a treat to have you here, and
Thank you, Raj.
are the same person when I see you on the street as you are on the TV. You truly are an icon, and just be careful. All this football and road racing stuff. I'm gonna tell Michelle on.
Tell Michelle that she'll stop.
She's gonna be very angry with you with all the
because hey, Raj, just like you, whatever the girls tell us to do, we do, right? But when I race the cars, I have all the racing equipment, the helmets. I have everything, and full harnesses, roll cages. So, and plus, here's the deal, Raj.
Yeah, tell me.
When I'm on the track, I am not Sebastian Vettel, right? I don't make a living racing. So it's all for fun, and I never take it too seriously.
Okay.
And when you don't take it too seriously, you don't get yourself in trouble and, run off the track or flip the car. You're just, okay, I'm not that good, so, and nobody's paying me to be here. As a matter of fact, I have to pay to go on this track. And so that way it's, you stay safer.
Well, anyways, Dallas, thank you so much for being on the Dr. Raj podcast today. I'll give you a hug when I see you. You're the best.
Yeah, I can't wait to see you. Thank you for having me, Raj.
Thank you. And everyone, I hope you enjoyed today's Dr. Raj podcast. I told you it would be awesome and special. And stay tuned for the next episode.
Thanks for listening. This has been a production of Ars Longa Media. Our producers are Madison Linden and Chris Brightigan. Our executive producer is Dr. Patrick Beeman. This podcast is for educational purposes only and not intended for medical advice. Ars Longa, Vita Brevis.